G'day guys, welcome to Rumble's Fish Room. So today I'm actually fairly tired. We had Matthias talk last night about his trip to Tanganyika. Unfortunately, his talk has made me want some Tanganyikan cichlids. It's horrible news because we all know that they are bloody expensive and it's a wormhole. I got out of Tanganyikans and now I want to get back into them, and I haven't got cheap taste. I want to get Xenotilapia. So if anyone's selling Xenotilapia cheap, hit me up. Those two, that sentence doesn't really make sense, but Xenotilapia and cheap in the same sentence, I mean by that. I got a pair. Whoa, there's a bucket of water. So one funny thing, I'll tell you a story. I'm going to try a pair of flower horns together right now. Live action, taking the divider out. She kind of looks like she's in breeding dress, but she hasn't got her tube down, so we'll just give them a go together. So I don't have any Tanganyikans, and it was a Tanganyikan talk, so generally we have a show table at the meeting. I was like, well, I can't win the show table because I don't have a Tanganyikan, but I'm just going to take my convict male. Now, a couple of people said they were bringing fish, but basically there was two people bringing fish. One didn't show up, and then Paul, his friend, was meant to bring a fish, and his friend ended up not being able to come, but my friend Paul was working south of the river, and he didn't have enough time to drive to Joondalup to get his fish. So in short, there was no other fish on the show tables, even though there was 2 other tanks booked in. So I won the show table with a convict at a talk about Tanganyikan cichlids. So I didn't even take, all I took was a sponge filter because I actually felt that bad about winning the prize. I didn't want to take a big prize because basically by leaving the bigger prizes, we can have more prizes at the next meeting or whatever, all that jazz. Most of the stuff that is prizes doesn't have much of a use for me because I'm so set up here that generally when I win prizes, they don't really get used. So I'm happy with the sponge filter. Believe it or not, that's one of my favorite prizes, and whenever there's a sponge filter on the prize table and I win, I always grab it. There's probably at least 5 or 6 sponge filters in my fish room that are from PCS raffles and all that jazz. Anyway, today we're going to play with the Jaichanger, so let's get stuck into it. Unfortunately, one person commented saying they had a bad experience with Jai, but an overwhelming amount of comments saying how good of experience they've had. So I'm sorry if you have had a bad experience with the company. I can only go by my personal experiences with Jai, and I've had nothing but good experiences, so I can't comment on the negative comment. I've left it up, I haven't deleted the comment, but I haven't seen that side of the company, so I'm happy to keep showing the product. But unfortunately, I don't know, I can't take sides with anyone. I've just got to go from my own personal experience with the person, and I try not to get caught up in people's commenting about stuff, if you know what I mean. But anyway, let's get stuck into it. Alright, so I don't know if I showed this on the channel last week. I'm pretty sure I did. I made this little vacuum because my other vacuum's so big. I wanted a smaller one that takes less water volume, like less water out of the tank when you're using it. And it just so happens that it's the perfect accessory for the Jaichanger. So this piece here came with the Jaichanger if you didn't catch the video. And then this piece here, see if I can do it one-handed, that piece there comes off. So personally, I don't really have a use for this piece here, but for people that do water changes. Oh, I don't want to put it in the bin. I don't dislike it that much. People that do manual water changes, that'll be handy for when you finish vacuuming. You can use it. So that just goes on there. So now it's got the hose on it. So I was actually telling you guys I might give this away, but I might keep it, yeah. I don't know. I'm going to see how this goes. This tank, actually, I've got to check that it fits over here. Because this tank has huge bracing on it. Oh, look at that. It's like the exact width of the bracing. Alright, so now we just need to connect the hose to that. And I'll see you in a sec. Alright, check this out. So I needed a longer pipe because I want to vacuum that stuff out of there. And this tank's 3 foot tall. So in true Jaichanger style, I actually got an offcut of pipe and I heated it up with a heat gun and I just melted that onto there to extend my pipe. It actually looks kind of like, you know, when you get a 6 meter length from Bunnings or whatever shop, and it's got the joiner on it, like it's almost identical to that. So that's actually a bit of a game changer for me. Like that's the first time I've ever done this, but that's quite tight on there. So I could actually see myself doing this instead of using joiners in the future for other projects. So yeah. That excites me, and like you guys know, silly little nerdy stuff really excites me. It's dumb, I know, but some of you are probably laughing at me saying I do that all the time, but it's something I've never done before, even though it is something very simple. Alright, so now we need to put this in here. I'm not really sure how I'm going to create this siphon yet. There's actually a little instruction manual that you get with this, but there's 3 different ways to get this going. So I'm thinking about doing the way that I do my other water changer. You guys have probably heard me talk about it. So basically you submerge the whole thing like that. Unfortunately this pipe here has got air in it. This is really difficult with one hand, but we're going to try it. Hang on. So if I turn that tap off in there, then I pull this out here, I'm fighting an air line as well. So then, are you ready? If I hold this down here and then turn that on, should create the siphon, and then grab that hose. Sorry, this is horrible footage, isn't it, guys? Two-handed. What? Hang on. One-handed. So, oh, now that's wrapped around that airline. Sorry, filter. You're getting turned off for the minute. Oh, I also need to build some more of the toolbox filters for this tank. Someone actually said to me last night at the meeting that they've got toolboxes for me, and I'd completely forgot that I'd asked people for the toolboxes. So I will have to get the toolboxes off him. He's actually got some fish for me. He said I could have them, but I'm going to offer him some money for them. But it is an exciting fish. It was a fish we talked about on the live stream, I think 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, using world's cheapest Bunnings hose has got a kink in it. Anyway, let's see how we go. Gotta try to keep this hose not kinked. Just like that, guys. Obviously, if you've got gravel, you can cut open like a 600 mil Coke bottle, and you can actually put a Coke bottle on the end of the pipe and use it as a gravel vac, and that way you don't have to go buy like the clear PVC. I think actually a 390ml Coke bottle works better. Don't hold me to that, but man, this is working mint. I was worried I wouldn't get enough water flow. Obviously bare bottom tanks bit easier to vac than a gravel tank, but for anybody who's wondering why the camera's shaky, I'm standing on top of an IBC with no shoes on, and you can see how my foot's like curling around that pole. It really isn't comfortable, and I'm holding a camera in one hand while using my arm to help stabilize myself and vac this tank. It's not ideal, but hopefully you guys get a laugh out of my positioning. Anyway, I'm gonna vac this tank, and yeah, all I want to say is I'm super happy with this, and I'm not 100% sure on this, or I'm 95% sure. If you actually message Jaichanger Facebook page and you don't want to build this pipe yourself, I'm pretty sure he will actually give you a price option to actually buy that whole setup with the pipe, with the hose ready to go and switch over. Obviously I'm not 100% on that, but I'm calling him out. If he doesn't do that now, he's going to offer that in the future, because I said I'm sure he would be willing to offer that, but yeah, if he didn't in the past, he does now, and if he doesn't, message me and I'll message him to message you to tell you that he will do it. Alright guys, so I did a vac. You can't even tell. I vac'd from this side to that side. The only good thing is I got rid of the massive, it was a thick pile, so now it's just thin. That what do you call it, debris there came off this filter when I moved it. One thing about vacuuming is it's so disheartening when you finish. Like I stopped vacuuming like 2 minutes ago, and that's all landed since I vacuumed. But what do? I think like with vacuuming, it's a patience game. You've got to like do it once, look back at it, and then do it again. But I'm actually taking the fish out of this tank today, so it doesn't matter if it's not vac perfect. There's going to be no fish in here for a week or so. Maybe not a week or so, a few days maybe. But anyway, so now we just go grab the end of our hose. I'm trying to do this as similar to like a person with one tank and a household, so you guys see like the exact process. And then obviously if you're doing this at home, I'd probably suggest running a charcoal filter and plugging the charcoal filter into your tap. But for me, all I've got to do, plug that in there, turn that on, and then boom, fills up. Now I know guys, you might say it's the same thing as this thing over here, but look at that, and then look at that. That's beautiful compared to this. And also, for anybody who didn't catch the video on me wanting a Jaichanger, it's actually because this cracked. And you can see I poured glue in it to try to fill the crack, but it didn't work. And I think it's just, these two flower horns are starting to have a bit of a brawl. I think it's just from like slamming it, hooking it onto tanks, and like I've had this for like 6 or 7 years, guys. This is old. I actually had 2 and I lost one, but I used to like slam this along tanks. I had 2 of these, right? I had a hose running from my bathroom tap. I had a fitting on it, and then I had a hose running from my front door tap, and I had them both going into the fish room. And I actually used to have a hose in 2 tanks filling back up, and then I had the 32mm drain hose, which is this one here, and I was draining the tanks, and on the end of that I actually had a 12k pump, and I used to pump out the tanks, and I had 30 fish tanks, and I used to water change the whole lot in about 70 minutes. I had it down to an art, and yeah, it used to be like my Monday or Tuesday ritual. And that thing there, honestly, if you've never, I know I've said it 100 times, but if you don't own one of those grey water hoses from Bunnings, you're doing it wrong. You guys know, like, literally every one of my tanks has a piece of that grey water hose attached to it. Where else is it? So like, yeah, see, it's all over here. Then yeah, I'm trying to think of what else I use it for. That's about it. Drainage. So then I've got that, which is a vacuum, but that thing is hardcore. If you're like trying to vacuum a tank like this, you get like halfway across the tank and you've already drained like 2/3 of the tank, and it just drains too much water to do like a meticulous clean. So that's where like this skinny little one comes in handy. But like you can see, this 32mm hose, it's everywhere. And I was actually going to make an adapter for this, purely for illustration for people that get one of these. I'm actually going to make an adapter that goes from that fitting to one of these hoses if you do want to speed it up, but that's a video for the future. Anyway guys, that's going to about wrap up that one. So I've got to try catch the fish out of this tank right now. That's definitely a pain in the bum and not something I can be bothered trying to record and do at the same time. But that'll give you a little bit of an insight into something into the future. Just a little bit of a clue. There is fish going in there that aren't currently in there. They are fish that are in the fish room coming out here. I guess you can probably guess what it is. And also I need to think about selling some fish because I've got new fish coming and I've got nowhere to put them. There's lots of fish that need to be shuffled and shuffled and shuffled and more shuffling. But anyway guys, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe for more, hit the little red button below there. Don't forget, you got a chance to win $200 if you do hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.